Hi, in this video we're going to take a look at the third conditional. Now of course in the previous unit you have already looked at the zero conditional, the first conditional and the second conditional. Well, we're going to move on now to have a look at the third conditional. Now the first thing I want to do is, usually to teach this I use an image. So I'm going to show you that image right now. Okay, and I would say, what can you see? And they say, okay, I can see a man in prison. Fantastic. Okay, so what's his name? They get them to create a name for him. So let's go with Bob. Okay, and we put up the sentence, Bob went to prison last week. Okay, then we say why. What crime did he commit? Now notice that the students in this case are building the story for themselves. It is not your story, it belongs to the students. So they say he robbed a bank. And again I can say why. Why did he rob a bank? And they say he lost all his money gambling. Okay, and so here we've got three very simple sentences. Now we could link these using because. Bob went to prison last week because he robbed a bank. He robbed a bank because he lost all his money gambling. That would be the simple version. However, when we're using grammar, we always want to try to be more advanced. So, I ask the students at this point, what tense are we using? And of course they can say it is the past tense. So, we must have all actions are finished. And that's really important. That's why I said Bob went to prison last week, not Bob is in prison now. Because the journey to the prison is finished. Okay? Then I say to the students, okay, which of these two actions happened first? And they say this one. Okay? And it's only at this point that I would say, okay, today we're going to be having a look at the third conditional. Can anybody make a third conditional sentence? Now, some of the students in the class will have studied this before. But even if they have, there is quite a lot of grammar that goes together with this, and very few students can do this just like that. So, we're going to build the sentence together on the board. Whichever action happened first, we use if. So the if part of the sentence is whichever of the two actions happened first. Alright, so we start off with if. Then we need our subject, Bob. Now the other thing that's difficult about the third conditional is that if it happened, we use negative grammar. Okay, and if it didn't happen, we use positive grammar. What we're saying in this case is that Bob robbed a bank. Imagine that the past was different. And that's why if we are saying something happened, we are saying imagine it didn't happen. If something didn't happen, we're saying imagine it did happen. So you've got to make sure that you change that. So, if Bob, then we need the past perfect. Okay, so if Bob hadn't robbed a bank. Okay, and let's just make sure that we've got the structure here. So if, subject, and past perfect. Then, of course, we need our comma. And then we have he wouldn't have gone to prison last week. Okay, and again, if we analyse this, we've got our subject. Here we have would or wouldn't. And then we have our present perfect. Now, of course, you should be asking questions here. So, did Bob rob a bank? Yes, he did. Notice we are using the negative grammar. Did Bob go to prison last week? Yes, he did. So again, notice we are using the negative grammar. Okay? After that, you can then repeat this process by saying, okay, let's take a look at these two sentences. Okay, so I'm going to remove this here. And now we're going to have a look at these two sentences. So, which one happened first? It was this one. So this is going to be the if part of the sentence. And now it's simply a case of walking through this grammar structure. So we've got if Bob hadn't lost all his money, then we need our comma, and then he wouldn't have robbed a bank. Did Bob lose all his money? Yes, he did. So we're using negative grammar. Did Bob rob a bank? Yes, he did. So again, we are using that negative grammar. And that's it. Join me in the next video when we will be taking a look at the word wish. Take care.